Hi everyone, it's Miss Eccles. I'm going to walk you through your simple probability notes. So please make sure you have them downloaded and you're ready to go. All right, so now we're going to go into our notes here. Probability is the likelihood of an event happening and is expressed as a number between 0 and 1. So again, it's the likelihood. Of the event happening, and it's expressed as a number between 0 and 1. Down here on this number line, we're going to write these words in the locations they belong. If you think as the number line as percentages, if you have 0% of something happening, then it is called impossible. If 100%, there's a 100% chance that item is going to happen, then that is certain. If it's like 50-50, so half yes and half no, then we call that equally likely. Okay, equally likely, meaning there's an equal shot of that event happening versus not happening. We have two more words. We have unlikely and we have likely. So unlikely is halfway between impossible and equally likely, because it's not an impossible situation, it's just unlikely to happen. And then likely is halfway between equally likely and certain. So it's not 100% chance going to happen, but it's pretty likely. So we're going to read through these examples, label the situations with one of the words from above. So is it possible to snow when it's 40 degrees outside? No, that is impossible. We all know that it needs to be 32 degrees or lower for it to snow outside. What about burning your dinner if you cook it too long? Well, it's pretty likely that you'll burn your dinner, but it's not certain that it's going to happen if you're cooking it too long. Water boiling at 75 degrees. Well, water has a much higher boiling point than 75 degrees, so that is also impossible. What I want you to do is pause the video and try the next three problems on your own. If you're not sure of a situation, like if you're not sure what it means, you can Google it. Okay. Getting a ticket if you're speeding. Well, you're not supposed to speed because you'll get a ticket. That's what they teach you in driving school, so that is likely. In reality, it honestly depends on how many police cars are out there. So if you put equally likely, then I would accept that as well. But it's likely if you're out there speeding, you're going to get a speeding ticket. Number 5, scoring from a safety in a football game. That's what I was talking about. If you don't know what a safety is, just Google it. But it's a way to score in a football game, but it's not very common. So it's possible to earn points that way, but it's unlikely to earn points that way. And then a coin landing on heads when it's flipped. Well, the only two options you have is heads or tails. And if you're flipping a coin, you have a 50-50 shot. And as long as it's not a weighted coin, then it's equally likely to land on heads as it is tails. So we would write equally, oh my goodness, EQUA, likely. There we go. All right, let's talk about how we write simple probability numerically. Simple probability is the ratio of successful outcomes to the total number of outcomes. So you'll often see it written like this. Capital P stands for probability, and then in parentheses is the event that you want to happen. So for example, I would say, what's the probability of A happening? Well, the probability of A happening depends on how many chances or how many situations there are available for A to happen out of the total outcomes possible. For example, if there's a total of 12 outcomes and A is only one of those situations, then I would say the probability for A to happen is 1 out of 12. The complement of that is just the opposite. It's that probability of the event not occurring. The probability of the event and its complement together have a sum of 1. So you're considering all possibilities in that case. When you add the probability of that event and its complement, when you add them together, you should get one whole. The complement is written like this with the apostrophe next to the P. So it's the probability of not A happening. So that's anything but A happening out of the total number of outcomes possible. So, for example, if it was 1/12 for A to happen, then there would be 11/12 for not A to happen. We're going to answer a couple questions here. Number 7, what's the probability of choosing a marble with stripes? The first thing you need to do is find the total number of outcomes. Here we know that the number of outcomes is 5, and we're looking for the one with stripes. There's only one opportunity for me to pull a marble with stripes out of the total 5. So 1/5 would be my answer. This one here is, what's the probability of not diamonds? So here would be diamonds and here would be diamonds, leaving me with 3 out of 5. So 3 possibilities out of the total 5. Problem 8. What's the probability of spinning a W and what is the complement of spinning a vowel? Again, we first need to count how many options we've got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7 sections on this spinner. Okay, I'm looking at the sections here. I'm not looking at if something's being repeated or not. So there's a total of 7 sections. And if I wanted to find a W, I've only got one option here, 1 out of 7. And then for the complement of getting a vowel, I'm going to cross off all my vowels, which leaves me with 5 options left. So 5 out of 7. Okay. We're going to flip over the page and go on to number 9. So number 9 is talking about a standard number cube. A standard number cube is just a die, like you're rolling a die like you would in a board game. They have to say standard number cube because when you like rolling a dice, that can be, you could have many different dice out there. If you're playing the game's categories, there's 26 sides to that die. So when they write questions, they try to be as specific as possible by telling you it's a standard number cube, meaning a 6-sided die where all 6 sides have the same probability of being landed on. So again, we're trying to make sure that we list out all of our possibilities. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 are all of our possibilities. There's 6 chances total. And you want to know what's the probability of rolling a 6? Well, it's just a 1 out of a 6 chance. What about rolling a 5? Again, 1 out of 6. Odd number, our odd numbers are 1, 3, and 5. So that's 3 out of 6, but we're going to simplify that when we report it as our answer. So you have a probability of 1/2 of rolling an odd number on a standard number cube. Number 10, a laundry basket has 24 socks in it. So that's my total amount. 6 are navy, 10 are black, and the rest are white, the remaining. So you have to figure out how many that is by doing some simple subtraction. There are 8 white socks. We are going to go through the problems and write our fractions and then make sure they're simplified when we write them in our answer blanks. So what's the probability of getting a black sock? That would be 10 out of 24, and I'm going to simplify that to 5/12. The white sock It'll be 8 out of 24, and both of those numbers are divisible by 3, so that's 1/3. And the last one, the Navy socks, is 6 out of 24. When you simplify it, divide both the numerator and denominator by 6, you get 1/4. Number 11, the spinner below is spun. What's the probability of spinning? And then you have these options. Again, you always want to know what your total possible outcomes is. And here it's 7. So there's 7 spots on the spinner. You are trying to not get a 6. So there's only 1 6 located. So you have a 6 out of 7 chance of getting that not a 6 on the spinner. So there's a very, very good chance you're going to get anything but a 6 here. A 3 or a 4. So a 3 or a 4 means both of those numbers together. So you have 2 chances out of 7. And then lastly, the odds. You want to get the odd number. So that's a 1, a 3, a 5, and a 7. So that's 4 out of 7 chance. All right, what I want you to do is do the rest of the questions on this page on your own. And then when you're ready, I'll go through them and you can check to see if you're correct. Number 12, the letters in the word soccer are put in a bag. You have a 1/3 chance of getting a vowel and a 2/3 chance of getting a consonant. Notice that consonant is a complement of vowel. When you add those fractions together, you should get one whole because the letters in our alphabet are either vowels or consonants. And then lastly, the letter C, you have a 1 out of 3 chance of getting the letter C. Now, if you did not get my fractions, you need to go back and check your fractions and make sure you simplified your answers all the way. Number 13, you're at the pediatrician's office. The probability of getting anything but a bouncy ball was 14 out of 15. The box of crayons was 8 out of 15, and the puzzle 2 out of 5. And in the movie drawer, the probability of choosing a drama was 1 out of 5, anything but comedy 2 out of 3, an action movie 7 out of 15. Again, check to make sure you simplified your fractions all the way. Last but not least, you have the students in the lunch line. D was the correct answer here. All right, I hope you did well.